It's time for Rod! Kim!
Josh!
How's it
Kim
going?
She looks very frozen. I wonder if
she's-
he like.
She's... Kin? Are you frozen? Kin?
Are you frozen? Is it? Did you freeze in Canada?
Is
I mean, in Florida?
Is it a bad... Okay. Welcome, everyone, to episode 125 Murder Moose Podcast.
AKA, we will call this Karma Fucks Rod in the Ass.
Dude. Yes, it was... He's like, Josh, you never get to pick a movie again because you picked Skin and Marinky Dink. And he's like, oh, let's see the Outwaters right after. I'm like, what? Watching it, okay. I'm like, huh? I'm like,
so the problem with this is, as how we do this podcast, like as of late, you and I don't watch trailers if we can avoid it. We don't
But honestly, I think this, of anything in any situation in the world, we have to do it that way, because then it creates. Because if we're gonna like purposefully like stay away from it, because fuck that, we can't. We have a duty to duty on movies sometimes if we have to, but also to see movies that have any type of hype in the horror genre. Yeah. And that's what we did this week, the Outwaters. Yeah. Whatever. We all die in the dark.
We all die in the dark alone. We come into this world like we go out alone and afraid. Maybe we don't always go out afraid.
Of sharks.
Sometimes you just have a brain aneurysm and you die.
I love that you said, well, okay, so Kin is had to take the week off. Yeah. Family stuff. It is Family Day today in Canada. I don't know if it is in the States too.
In America, it is like President's Day.
Okay, so
it's a holiday, so
holiday Monday, and she has family stuff going on. So
she's in Florida. Yeah, she's in Florida, and her Florida stuff was like, she's been streaming stuff, but like her family stuff went longer, and she was doing more family stuff tomorrow night. And I was like, cool, family's more important than this tomfoolery, but she misses us and misses you guys because you're wonderful. So we thought it would be funny. If you're not watching the video, we put Kin in her usual spot, freeze framed from last week, because it would be funny. And
Kin, how's it going?
She is. It even has the YouTube bar on the bottom.
I know. Whatever. It was a screenshot. Whatever. I could have went to the actual video, and I think it's funnier.
It's funnier that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't.
So what do you think, Kin? Oh, she liked it. She liked it.
She gives it one cut off penis. Now,
maybe that's why she didn't want to talk about this, because of that.
I mean,
you know what? I only like talking about anuses, not cut off penises.
PG-13 anus, remember. PG-13 anus.
Right.
Yeah. So, Josh, we were talking before we started recording that we both went and saw Ant-Man, and we thought it was fine.
It has, like, you know, it's rotten on Rotten Tomatoes. It's like under 50%. Honestly, I'm right there with them. Like I feel like that's all it deserves. It's such a throwaway movie that has, because Paul Rudd is Ant-Man, Paul Rudd brings it like Paul Rudd does, and he's funny, and he's the only redeemable part of this movie. And Kang is fucking dope, but
Kang,
there's so many plot holes with Kang himself. It's like, he's all powerful. He could have just like flicked people around, and all of a sudden he's like, like, what? Yeah. Come on.
It feels like the whole phase 4 and phase 5 has been like, oh, we got to set up Young Avengers. And it's like, so like everything since Infinity Endgame has been like, hasn't felt like it matters.
There's no stakes.
Right?
Yeah, there's no stakes, especially in this one.
Well, it's so self-contained, and it's like the other problem with it too, them announcing everything out. We know Kang some form of Kang's gonna be there for the Avengers, the next one in a couple years anyways. So it's like, doesn't, like, when you have that stake, when you're like, oh yeah, okay, you're like it doesn't matter, because we know it, whatever happens, there will be a Kang in it, like fighting them, the Avengers, and everything.
like, okay, so Kang is first introduced in the Loki series, and he seemed menacing, and he seemed like all powerful, and like someone and something that you're supposed to fear. Whereas in
Yeah.
this one, I don't know if it's because it was Paul Rudd or what, but they made him seem less menacing in this
Yeah.
movie, and he didn't seem like, and that's what I'm talking about, the no stakes thing.
Mhm.
Uh, it didn't seem like he was ever going to inflict any harm, and the only time he was actually seemed like Kang was scary was when, spoiler alert, Loki's scene after credits came, and he's
Yeah.
like, "No, be very afraid." And I felt afraid because
Yeah.
Tom is a great actor, and I
Yeah.
felt it, and he brought it, and I felt
Yeah.
like Kang
Well,
is actually someone to be feared again. I was like,
also Kang has scenes in that movie where he's just like pulling almost Thanos level bullshit where he's just like erasing people from the time, and then he's getting his ass kicked by Paul Rudd in a
and
fist
ants.
yeah, no, I mean not even ants. I'm just talking about like with the fist fight with him at towards the end of the movie, and you're like, what sense does that make? And it's just we're not gonna spoil anything. It's just like
I just spoiled everything.
I mean, everyone knows whatever. I don't know, man. I enjoyed it. I had fun with it, but it was like the special effects felt a little weird, and I don't know. I had fun with it, but it's like a lot of things in it were like throwaway jokes, right? Like the
The
whole
whole movie
guy,
felt throwaway.
the, the whole
I
guy.
love
There was
throwaway jokes
yeah,
though. Like if they're done well, and especially with Paul
yeah,
Rudd, those are some of the best things. Like if you
yeah.
can riddle in throwaway jokes in between heavy hitting jokes, and the throwaway jokes are better, like
Yeah.
bring it on. I love it. That's
I
like
you
true
know
comedy.
one of the things I did like about it a lot, though, they made Michael Douglas kind of kick ass again, which was kind of cool. I liked how like they sold him in it. Also, Michelle Pfeiffer is still fucking gorgeous,
Oh yeah.
however old she is, and that white hair with her looks just like it makes her even hotter. Like I and Jonathan Myers is like probably my favorite thing in that whole film, but like up there. So it's like I don't know, it's worth seeing, but it's just like I feel like I don't know. Maybe it's because we've been getting Marvel movies for 15 years. It's like it's starting to like I don't know if maybe overdo it. I don't know. It's
I'm so in the like don't even care column. But with
yeah,
that being said, the last good movie Marvel made was the Spider-Man one,
yeah.
and I did see um the Flash trailer, and it looks fucking fantastic. It looks
I
actually fucking awesome. It looks a lot like the Spider-Man movie, but
yeah. Which I think what the thing with the Ant-Man is like all of this is going up for the Secret Wars movie, which is going to be what have Battle World, which is going to be probably even cooler than that Spider-Man movie because it's going to be like Logan, and it's going to be like the Tom Holland and all the other like everyone will be in that one, like, and there will be a lot of cool stuff, and I hope that it pulls off and like they build up to it because like if they flop on that one, it's going to be like it
all
will
right,
be
I'm
like
done.
yeah, it will be, and we got years, man, and I hope it works out. I hope that they get stuff going. Like they're doing less stuff with TV. Like I like the Loki show is probably the best one they've done. So them doing a second season, that's gonna be cool. I want more stuff like fucking Werewolf by Night. That's just throw offs that like directors do cool stuff, and not have
Right.
to. It's like Marvel's very much like even you talk about with the Netflix, effect all the time, and how Netflix has that thing where everything kind of looks the same, and
Mhm.
Marvel kind of does that where they kind of make their directors do a lot of the same stuff, and
They
that's
don't
why.
even let their director. It's directed by the whole uh like team.
That's like yeah, I
It's
mean that's why
directed by Disney.
Scott Derrickson didn't come back for the second Doctor Strange. That's why Edgar Wright didn't do the first Ant-Man because they were like they wouldn't let them make their own movies, and it's like
No,
I don't know. I think that they got a little too protective of their stuff, and when you hire people, Edgar Wright's
they're
one of the
all
best
the
fucking
same. They're all the
yeah.
same now. Like you
Edgar
know
Wright makes
exactly what you're gonna get, and if it's
yeah,
nothing more, it's gonna be rotten now. Like and
yeah,
every time, like this is.
yeah,
It felt like the last 10 Marvel movies I saw wrapped up into one without
yeah.
any originality to
Well,
it whatsoever.
that that in the fucking people that masses are turning on them anyways, right? Like they'll find anything they can to like shit on these movies, even when when they are entertaining. And shit on Marvel and stuff in general. Like the shit they said about She-Hulk was silly. Like, the way they like that show was
Just don't
fucking
watch
entertaining.
Just don't watch it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just like, ugh.
I
Speaking of
didn't.
don't watch, speaking of don't watching, did you enjoy the new Last of Us? We're not gonna spoil anything.
Yeah.
I'm just, dude.
I watched it this morning with my morning coffee. I watched like that's when I have time to consume this type of content. So yesterday morning with my morning coffee is when I did the Outwaters, and I don't know if that. I don't know. Like that's when I'm most attentive. I'm a morning person now.
Yeah.
And like I can really like consume the media and like let it sink for the rest of the day. And like as much as like the last episode was more like a transition to something else, and it was like the journey. It was really like well fucking done on the character side, like getting them to where they're going to be eventually and stuff. And it was well, and to see like the cabin with the Aboriginals, like he's such a heavy hitter in Canada. He's in like so many things that
he was in the Twilight movies, right, and stuff like he was
but like most of the stuff that comes through like Alberta, if it needs like an Aboriginal person in it, he's like the go-to. And to see him in like big things, I always love, because he was
dude, that motherfucker, even when even in those Twilight movies, he was good. Like he just, he's good whenever he's and his wife in that was fucking hysterical.
Oh,
his
that whole scene was so good. They were just they brought it.
I was saying to my wife when I was watching it, we were watching it last night, I was like, they made Ellie, I feel like they made Ellie a little bit sassier on the TV show, just like a little bit. And I love it because it goes well with the grumpy old Joel character, but
I'm obsessed with the show, man. Like,
dude,
I think it can't.
I can't wait till the end of the last episode for this first season, and it's going to be like the Red Wedding almost, like, because that is such a heavy closeout to that show that it's like you.
So do you
figure
think like it's going to be like the first game will be the season 1, or they're going to stretch it out more?
No, I don't think that it's like I was trying to figure out the patterns of like what episodes are left, and how we have 4 episodes left, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think it looks like they're just closing out the first game, because like the next episode is the Ellie solo episode, which is that chunk of the game.
Because they got they're already picked up for season 2, they said, but is that going to be it? Because there's only 2 games.
It's HBO, and you go, I mean, I don't know how much you know about the second game, but there are things that made people very angry.
My buddy Ian played on his stream and stuff, but again, like my ADD, I was just like, I was only half paying attention. I don't actually know what happened, and I even played more than half of the first game, and it was such a long time ago that I have no idea, and I'm watching it for the first time. I don't know. I just remember it being like really good, and me not wanting to actually do the gameplay because I wanted to watch the story play out.
The second one's really good, but like it made a lot of people mad because decisions, when like TV shows do something, or even games, I mean, like the game, and it makes people mad even if it's the right decision. It's that kind of stuff. So yeah. But I'm excited, man, and it's been fucking awesome. So I'm happy that they're doing it, and like Pedro Pascal is just fucking. And then we're gonna finish up Pedro with the Last of Us season 1, and then the Mandalorian starting.
Right after,
yeah. So we're getting a lot of Pedro. It's okay because Pedro's fucking awesome, and I love that man.
Did you watch the SNL?
No, I didn't.
Check it out, man. It's on the Plex as well. Like, he killed it, and there's so many, especially the last skit right before. I was dying because he's cracking too, and it was anytime anyone cracks, it makes my day so much.
one of my favorite things on Saturday Night Live that I see clips of on all the time is the like weekend updates and like Michael and what's his Shay, those two, and them just making each other read these horrible jokes that are just so offensive. And
they write them for
each
other.
I know.
That's,
I know. That's what I mean.
It's
and you're just sitting
racist.
there going, yeah, I know. And you're sitting there going. And you always see them sit like their face as they're reading it, and you're like, oh my god, because like first time,
it's a good
thing.
Yeah.
The first time I'd ever seen those two was when I was still watching WWE a lot, and they showed up and they were like in the Royal Rumble, and I was like, oh my god, but like those two are funny, and it's like one of the better parts of when I see highlights of SNL. But yeah,
it's been kind of for a while, and if you have a good host that can make it like, then it brings it. So
yeah, well, the problem is like they don't have like Will Ferrell, and like they don't have any of those like powerhouses anymore. You know what I mean? So, I was gonna say the one other thing. So my wife has been rewatching the Mighty Ducks movies lately, and for some reason she puts on the TV show, and
it's good.
And
it's really cheesy, but I like it.
Jonesy is the coach for the Mighty Ducks, and I'm just like, Jonesy, your mom's a whore, Jonesy. I'm like, yes. Every time I see like him, I'm just like, I love that motherfucker. Yeah.
The first season is way different than the second season of that show too, because they go to like some sort of like summer camp thing. For the second season. So.
My wife started halfway through just because she wanted to watch the episode with the Emilio Estevez and the Mighty Ducks guys and everything like that. Like
it's great though.
Movies. Yeah,
I'm obsessed with like I have the like the box set of the DVDs and everything that I like special ordered to the store back in the day and stuff. I've always loved those movies.
I wish they would have got Joshua Jackson in there, but. It's funny because my wife has also been, I don't know, it seems like my wife is like going to leave me for Joshua Jackson because she is also rewatching a bunch of, what do you call it? Dawson's Creek. So she's just like, there's a Fringe next in the thing. I'm completely lost for Joshua Jackson. My wife will leave me for him. So
I just watched a movie with Joshua Jackson in it last night. He was in a short scene in Ocean's 11.
Oh, was he? Dude, he's another guy who like fell off the face of the earth, it seems like.
Mm-hmm.
And what it's funny because like my wife was mentioning that, and like, we'll change this in here, but the trailers for the new what's his name? Lock, Stock, and Two Smoky Barrels. What's his name? Guy Ritchie. The new Guy Ritchie movie, which has what do you call him from Halloween? H2O. And it, Josh, what the fuck is his name? The guy from Halloween H2O, the kid.
Oh.
Harnett. Harnett. What the fuck is his name?
Hartnett?
Yeah, he's in that. Josh Hartnett. He's in that upcoming Guy Ritchie movie, and my wife's like, did he just stop acting for like 20 years? I'm like, he's done stuff. He was like in stuff like that, Lucky Number 11 and shit like that, right? So I don't know. It's always weird seeing like actors fall off the face of the earth, and like as we're not too far out from Brendan Fraser, like it's kind of assumed he's gonna win Best Actor for The Whale. And after like he kind of got pushed out of Hollywood for a while because he reported that he got fucking sexually assaulted by someone. And so Hollywood's like, whoa. And it's just like, it's good to see him come back and just fucking kill it. Cause Brendan Fraser seems like a dope motherfucker. Like he does seem like a cool dude. Right. So
I always loved him.
Yep. The Mummy movies are great. The first two, at least.
Yeah.
The third one was not very good. And then that Tom Cruise remake, I've talked about it on here before. Holy fuck. I've never seen a bad movie go, being bad isn't bad enough. I have to make myself one of the worst movies of all time, very like in the third act. I'm just like, oh, you guys, man, you guys fucking suck. Okay, Josh. Anything else you want to talk about before we talk about the Outwaters?
Third acts. These last two movies are just missing them completely.
Yeah. Man, let me read this. And this is honest. I saw people on Twitter talking about this movie. And I'm like, okay, it's found footage, whatever. I was like, it's found footage. It can't be fucking that wacky. Oh, how was I wrong? Okay, this is the Outwaters. It says IMDb says 2022. I feel like it came out this week or this month, but I don't know.
Yeah, but that would be it would be its limited release when it was first released, and even if it was at like a Sundance or somewhere else, it will consider it that. But we'll say 2023.
Okay, it says 4 travelers encounter menacing phenomena while camping in a remote stretch of the Mojave Desert. I have never seen a film that was just like, we're not going to tell you like anything, even though there's some kind of story here.
Is there?
Man, well, that's the thing, right? Like, there's this weird fucking thing going throughout this film. Ken says thumbs up.
Oh, okay.
There's like this intriguing parts of this film that I was really hoping that there would be like some kind of like fulfillment for what it was, right? Like that fucking scene where they come out of the fucking tent and the motherfucker is on the fucking hill with the axe was fucking kind of cool. It was one of the better shots in the film. And then they take that shot and then they wrap in this fucking time loop thing that I'm like, okay, there's intriguing like Cthulhu, like Lovecraftian things going on here. And then it's just like, but nothing ever, like, you're just like blue balled again. You're like blue balled by like not getting anything, not seeing anything, not like, besides like dark with a little tiny camera and blood. There's tons of blood in this fucking film. And chubby girl titty. And like, that's another scene. Like, it reminded me of like
chubby girl titty.
Yeah. It reminds me of like, there was like, this is the first off one. I paused it a bunch of times because that was ADHD and I was doing other things. This movie is watchable. Even though when you can't see shit, it's way more like, it feels more like a movie than Skinamarink. Like, that's what I'll say. Like, it's got a lot of the same issues.
So everything that Skinamarink did that was, I don't even know if they were attempting it to be scary or whatever. Yeah. This one does. And there's genuinely terrifying sounds going on with visuals that are non-existent. But because the audio is actually terrifying, there was 2 moments, and one was the axe guy for sure.
Yeah.
And the initial whoa, and then they're running and the girls sound genuinely terrified. I was like, holy fuck. And some of the sound effects that went along with it, like, you're not seeing anything, but I was like, this is fucked. And I was like, okay, holy shit. And because they had at least one holy shit moment in this movie, it's a redeemable moment where Skinamarink had no redeemable moment for what it was doing. Both of them are very, very guilty of way too long run times.
Yeah.
For having zero, like, it's like, okay, this had 2, like, movies usually have the 3-act structure. This one had a 2-act structure, and then it lost what it wanted to do, and then just ended. And I fucking hate, just come up with something or an explanation, some sort of, like, something.
So the thing is, and this is how I'm going to put it, the movie is a found footage film, right? We talked about that. It breaks it up into 3 videotapes. Nothing happens in the first 2 videotapes. You could have literally just combined those 2 tapes and done a little bit. This is an hour and 40 minutes. We talked about that with Skinamarink. You have...
They're the same length.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So if you cut those 2 fucking first tapes down, combine it, you have at least something that's a lot more palatable. And when you're not going to survive answer or give answers out, like, don't make it an hour 40 long. Don't do it. Like, this movie should have been an hour 20 at best.
Don't
like
do
that.
It.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
I love that. You went so high pitched there.
I know. I like.
It was great.
Someday I'll hit puberty. It's just like.
It was great.
It's like there's like no restraint. Like the characters are like, you don't get almost anything from the main brother, like the camera guy. You get almost nothing from him. You get a bunch of shit that's like the blonde and her, like they're going out to shoot a music video, but like there is so much that you could have just cut and took 20 minutes out at least of this film. You could have probably made this movie 70 minutes easily.
But even like maybe like a conversation or two with the brothers, like, oh, mom really wanted us to do this or something, to give like some context or backstory, or like make you care about like why he's not talking to mom. You don't know. He's just not talking to her. And that's fucking something that one simple conversation would have given so much backstory and it would have made sense in the found footage way.
Yeah.
It's like,
well, that, and then you give that scene where the mother appears, it gives it way more power. Like if you have context in what is the issue between them and him and the mom, and it's like it gives you that context, and it's just like, and that's another scene that like it feels like it was almost really cool, right? Like it's almost like, because you have this thing where you're just like, you don't know what's happening and you don't know what this movie has like stuff in it. You're just like, it feels like there are shots in it that just for shots, and like, let's talk about something.
Like some of the special effects stuff, like if you're going to show it, make it really good. Like you showed it and you showed it for a long time. Like some of the like weird stuff that was coming by was creepy because of the sounds, but like then they showed it too much. And then it was like, you could see the glue and you could see the, like how cheap things actually were. And I felt the same way with a bunch of different shots. They were too long.
The snake Cthulhu, like Lovecraftian tentacle things, they showed too much of them. And I think that like the best way that like any of that was used in the film was when the tongue thing or whatever was wrapping around the leg. That was good. Like that
was all
like,
reverse shots. They're all done in reverse. But and at the end too, like I've seen here's spoilers. We're going straight.
I mean, yeah.
But the prosthetics on sticks, I've seen it done very well in other movies where that should be a very jarring thing to see, and all the fake heads were so bad that I was like, and they were like, he was just showing them, and I was like, he's messed up. This should be really a really messed up scene, and it doesn't feel messed up. It just feels sloppy.
Well, it feels like it feels like there's something going on, right? It's very Lovecraftian, and it feels like whatever this is like touched these heads or made them this way or whatever, but you don't get any context to that. It just kind of looks like shoddy heads, like you're talking about, like and you're just like, well, like you're so close, and it's like, I don't know, man. Like there are some generally cool shots. There's some really fucked up thing. The shot where the guy is running with the camera upside down is fucking like, it throws you off. Like it throws you. We talked about that with,
but in a good way too, though.
Yeah.
Like when they did it in Infinity Pool, it was too well done, so it made me feel sick. Whereas this, I don't know. For some reason, it went. And it didn't feel, but I think it's because it was like a sped up thing too.
Yeah.
So,
well,
I don't know.
That, and they dropped the audio out of it, which was weird, right? It was that like the dropping the audio out while that was happening, or like I think that was when they dropped the audio out. Like it was that thing where it made it feel otherworldly, because there were other scenes where the guy is running and you hear the footsteps, but like it's running but with no footsteps, no like whatever. So it just feels.
I gotta say the sound design in this movie was actually really well done. Like for what it was, like. Even if in the sloppier parts and whatever, I felt like that's the glue that was actually making this movie a lot better than Skinamarink, because Skinamarink just it was stripped too far down to nothing. Yeah. And hey, it was still art. This felt a little more traditional in its approach to what they both were trying to kind of accomplish.
Oh, a side note, I saw next week they're gonna be streaming the unrated version of Megan on Paramount. I don't know if you saw that or Peacock or whatever. So that is coming out next week, the unrated version. So be on the lookout for that. So that was another thing I forgot about that in the intro, but yeah, that's out there. The sound design was really good, man, and it was like it was one of those things that really kind of like held together what like I kind of was thinking about this movie as Blair Witch Project, like trying to do Blair Witch Project just in a different way. And the problem was that like what
Blair Witch Project still had a story structure though.
Yeah, I know. And it sets up that fucking what all Blair Witch really does for the whole time, which is terrifying, is setting up that final shot. That whole movie is set to set up a final shot.
But people standing in corners with their back to you is terrifying, though.
Yeah, like, well, especially you get told the stories about how that was the witch like killed people and fucked like would make someone watch in the corner or whatever. But like this movie doesn't have. There is no Blair Witch, right? There's no like. There's just some like weird like. It's like a Cthulhu time warp like whatever, like because you see the main character running him. Yeah, you see the main character running him into himself later on, and it's like it. That's what kind of upset me, but it's like it felt like they were trying to do something really, really, really cool, but just kind of like they like tripped and they didn't like, and there was like I don't know if this director is named Robbie Banfitch, and I don't know how much this guy has done. He's let's see.
Yeah, I felt like it was like, well, we have this idea, and then it's yeah, but then what? Whatever.
So he's done one other feature film and 3 shorts. So he's got directing experience, but like I actually think a lot of the problem with this film is the editing. Like
I got to tell you something. Okay. I have been talking and getting all my gear together, and I'm going to just do it. I'm going to be making some short films again, and I'm happy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome, dude. That's very, very... Dude, that's what I liked about Skinamarink. I was like, I think that the number one thing that this film is going to do is going to inspire horror fans who want to make films or do make films to go, if they can do that with this, fucking like it being inspirational, because that movie made a shit ton of money for what it cost, and it was, dude, anyone could do that. I'm sorry, you could definitely make Skinamarink, and I know it would be a better film. So it's like you sit there going, like, that was what I liked about that film, and I don't think this film had a huge budget either. Like there wasn't like there were shots that I'm like, you what? Like the sky shot with all the like fucking like pins hole like the stars or whatever the fuck that was. I was like, why is this here? Like, because it doesn't have any. Also, why is this movie called The Outwaters? I still don't know. Like, there's that one point where the guy is like underwater, but like I don't know why it's called The Outwaters. I don't know why. Like it just feels like it's like it almost feels like
they were like putting the mic in, and it's like it sounds like a current. Like, so there was like, I don't know, there was references to water at the end, and they're out of water.
Yeah, I don't know, man. There's a lot in this movie. Again, I thought it was vastly more entertaining to sit and watch, even when it was like not, it was problematic, than Skinamarink, because Skinamarink doesn't just sits there and shows you fucking corners, shows you walls, shows you all this shit. This has shit happening, even though you don't know what the fuck is happening for most of that, whether it's too dark. And I mean, I don't think that like being too dark in something like this is necessarily bad if that felt like sound design, like you're talking about, is carried through, and you just make the whole film like rest on that, and you're just creeped out, because man, it is what you don't see. We talk about it on the show all the time, is way more horrifying than what you do see. And so like, in a film with a smaller budget, you're going, well, then just keep giving me sounds, keep giving me like what is happening, what is going on, what is doing this, what is making all this happen.
Feels wrong. This just feels wrong.
I know it does. It does. And I just sit there and go, like, it just seems like you have something here, and you have like a lot of like cool shots, you know, like, and it's just like the whatever string that held it together started breaking, and caused like the movie not to be like, it's like your wacky wavy inflatable man got like a hole in it and the air comes out, and so he's just kind of a limp dick wacky wavy, like he doesn't get to go all over anymore. He's just like this.
The references to water and to whatever are so loose and so whatever, and there's just a random shark tooth to cut off a penis, and like I don't know, like it's just.
But that's another thing. That wasn't even, I assume, I took me a second once you said that, like in our group chat, I'm like, shark was hungry. And I'm like, oh, that was, they were trying to sell it with some like Cthulhu and like it had come through this portal in the sky. Also, guys, I hate to tell you this. Fucking put a seizure warning on your goddamn movie, man. Why are there no warnings about this fucking movie and the fucking lights? And because there are flashing lights all over this film, and you're just like,
see, a lot of people's gripes with this movie is the fact that it's just a flashlight, but I loved that.
Yeah, that's not my problem.
I thought it, but like all the fucking comments that I read about this is like, get a better flashlight. I can't believe it. Blah blah blah. I'm like, you're seeing way more in this than you were in Skin of a Rink. There was nothing, and this was like, oh, it's making you like lean in and want to see, and that's where when it was showing the stuff that it was showing, in the chaos, it is where you could feel and see the indie in this. Whereas if there was like, I don't know, like, you know, I love that was the technique they chose to use, and I really enjoyed that part of the movie. Yeah, but again, all the visuals that we were ending up seeing were, you know, very low budget feeling, and it took me out of the movie a bit more.
But that's like, I don't care. Like, I like indie horror. Okay, you can throw me out. I just wish there was some kind of payoff there, or some kind of like, some kind of like, just like
story.
Yeah, I mean, like, just some kind of reveal, some kind of like indication, like, like the closest you get to any of that is like they made a rock start moving, basically, that they were trying to imply was this, like, you know, giant Lovecraftian like monster from another realm or something like that, and you're like, but like, you
Lovecraft.
This movie feels very much like the people made it were very, very into Lovecraft, which is cool. I like telling a Lovecraft story with all this stuff. I just think that, like, I don't know how you like take 20 minutes off the fucking runtime. That, like, you don't need most of that first tape. I'm sorry, don't need it. 2, just like have something. You don't even need a real payoff. You just need something that like makes you go, questions it. Like, this whole time you don't ever question anything. You're just like, okay, weird shit's happening. And like, there's also weird things throughout this film that are just like, I feel like they don't acknowledge really, really correctly. Like, there are like earthquakes happening towards the whole like first act, right? And they're just like, okay, whatever. And it's just like, I feel like you were trying to like to prep you or like prepare you for what was coming with these earthquakes, and it's just like, also the opening crawl where you're like, oh, this was like these 4 people went missing, but like there's this 911 call that isn't like, there's no 911 call, like you don't have like it's someone like reporting to these people and talking to them, and it's like that never happened.
Where you're obviously following the cameraman because it's found footage, and that reveal, like the next day type thing, where he's like, oh, and then he walks and then he sees himself and the people walk. I was like, oh, okay, cool. I really like this. I thought that was cool, but then I was like, okay, so what are the rules? And then that's when it starts to really go off into where you don't have to explain anything, because anything is possible now, and then it's just a bunch of random. But I also liked that they kept flashing to that like weird vertical light thing that, and tied it to kind of like biblical. I liked and didn't like that, because they were I can't find God, and like he goes home and is like saying this prayer over and over, and it makes it fucking creepy. Or
yeah. Well, it's like I think they were trying to imply whatever was getting them or fucking them or destroying them and creating these was like coming through that, right? And that was kind of why I was like suggesting that there are a lot of flashing lights in this film. You need a fucking just a seizure warning at the beginning of this because you're gonna fucking kill someone, like, and not mean to do it. But like, yeah, there's like that's the stuff like that reveal you're talking about is like, oh, this is gonna this. It felt like they set it up for a really cool thing, and then like when you figure out that he was the Axeman, you're like, oh, that's cool. Like there's a lot of these really like, oh, that's cool moments in the film, and it's just like. It's like you got a really 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 good blowjob, and then like the person blowing you just like, okay, I have to go to work now, and you don't finish, so you're just sitting there going, but it's so hard, please finish, please. And it's like
well, you could always just grab a shark tooth,
I mean, you could. Yeah, that's so in our group chat, I after that scene, I was like, not the dick. And I'm like, because man, I was like, for half a second, I was like, what the, oh, it's a dick.
What do you think, Kin?
She gave it a thumbs up. She gave it a thumbs up. I was like, with the dick scene, I was like,
I'm glad she's here with us. I'm glad we did this. Cause like,
yeah, I was like, so Kin's like, oh, we can't family shit. I messaged Josh. I was like, Josh, we got to put Ken in her window, like as a freeze frame. It makes it makes it feel whole. It makes it feel complete. It's I just think that there's like, it almost feels like this movie felt like they're like, oh, we're gonna go artsy, and then like nobody will like question what we've made. You know what I mean? Like it kind of like Skinamarink. Like it's like, oh, critics will never call us out on this because it's artsy. You know what I mean? Like, but it's like the Wizard of Oz, right? You're like, there is a man behind that curtain. We know that man's behind that curtain. We're gonna like, this movie was I keep saying it, but this movie was way easier to watch than Skinamarink, and I feel like it was way closer to being something really cool.
Because I feel like the first act, there was actually something other than, and I liked that, the donkeys and just the fact that they're making a music video, and they're sad that their mom died, and her mom used to sing this lullaby to her, and you get more context from her, and then she's just gone. Whereas like the main, I guess, you don't fucking
get nothing
shit.
from. Yeah, he barely talks. It's like just him and his brother that talk, and it's like you get no context with any. Like he's like, it almost feels like video game like, right? Like when you're playing a short horror game that's like a couple hours long, 2 or 3 hours, and you go, that doesn't have any character development. You're just kind of going through and like living through this character. He doesn't get developed at all. Like it's the brother doesn't really do much either. Like the only character that really kind of gets like fulfilled at all is like the singer. Thumbs up from Ken. Is the singer who's the setup for everything, but then it's like you don't have any context to how the cameraman is doing this and why he's losing his mind and why he's like, like there was that scene where he's like, it looks like he's like pulling fucking shit off of his foot or something like that. And I'm like, is he growing things or is he just had stepped in monster goo or like,
but he does that every time it's like a loop or something. And the loop is like on that sign letting us know that they're in a restricted area because of some messed up shit. It almost like reminded me of like The Hills Have Eyes or something. Are they in like a nuclear testing place or something?
Like The Mist, right? Like they opened this portal to this like Lovecraftian realm, and so they like put this up, but like obviously it happened a long time ago, and so no one really watches it anymore. No one does anything, and it's like that sign is one of the other cool things that you're like, okay, something happened, but again, you're like, what? Something. What is it? Like what? Like I don't even know if like I don't know. Like, how do you have some like Cthulhu and monster? Maybe you have it like talk to them, or like I mean, like there was weird random voices throughout a lot of this film. Not a lot, but they happen like a few times, and you're not sure what's happening, and I don't know it. I don't know. I'm not quite sure. Like, I'm glad we watched this. I'm not saying I didn't like it, but it's like it's got a lot of things where it's just like you almost nailed it. It was another one where like you almost nailed it. You almost
yeah. It has a better like I don't know.
There's meat to it. It's not just like Flash
snake
like
meat.
Rink. Yeah, snake meat. Weird tentacle monster thing. I don't know, man. I think there's like a thing with like indie horror people that like they think that like they have to like some of these guys think they have to be like airy or something like that, like and like be weird and artsy to make themselves like stand out. And it's like I don't know. I hadn't heard about this movie until it came up on horror whatever the streaming thing that we watched it on, and it's like I don't know if people were seeing it and like they were. It kind of seemed like they were like
this poster's better too because the original poster sucked.
Yeah,
but that's just me.
Yeah, a lot of it is the poster that like's on IMDb looks like it was some weird 70s like
yeah, totally.
Like
it doesn't like tell the story at all. And this one, it definitely made me want to see it,
dude. And going out in the woods and just hearing shit in your fucking like tent is horrifying, man. Like,
oh yeah,
back to Blair Witch, even that fucking Bobcat movie with like the where they're like out looking for Bigfoot. Have you ever watched that? Bobcat, what is his name?
No, I don't think so.
He Goldweight, is it a Goldweight? He made a movie about fucking this couple out looking for Bigfoot, and it is American Bigfoot, or what the fuck was it called? Let me see. Dude, I don't know what the fuck IMDb did with their fucking website, but sometimes it is not easy to fucking like find anything on it. But yeah, he did this movie where like you were this couple was
they
out
just
looking
want you to
Bigfoot.
see more ads. That's what I feel like IMDb turned into.
Willow Creek was a film, and
yeah, I think I saw that.
Where like they're in that movie gets horrifying when the couple's in their fucking tent, and you're not doing like you're just getting like someone poking it, and good sound design, and it could be so effective, and it just shows you don't have to overdo it, and you don't have to like. It's all just setting mood. It's all setting like environment. It's setting that like that feeling you have, and because it's just like. Again, we talk about it all the time. You don't need to see stuff, especially in a film like this. You just need to like be afraid. Your imagination takes over and goes, oh, there's like a Cthulhu monster coming out of the fucking dark or something like that. And I just think that they like didn't do enough to make you like afraid of the dark. They didn't do enough to make you like it kind of like it's like more of like what's happening. You say a lot. You're like, what's happening? What's happening? What's happening? And there are cool shots. There's cool visuals. The concept, like we talk about that, him seeing himself, and then you realizing as it comes through, like him finding the axe. There's like that cool stuff, and like that they kind of get off with it. And then I'm sorry, like the ending, the dick cutting was fucked up enough, but then like he like guts himself and is like just walking away with his guts hanging out. It's just like, but why? What happened to like? Do that? Like, what was it? What, like, I don't know, man. Like, do you have to explain it was a fucking monster from another dimension? No, but like maybe something like, I don't know, like have like a leech on him. I don't know, just have something, like have one of those tentacles, have him changing into it a little bit, like maybe his foot is turning into it, whatever, you know, just something so you kind of go, oh, it was like whatever took over. Like, you don't get that though. You don't get like, you get them like, these guys are also silly, like a lot of the end of this, like in the middle of this film, right? Like when the weird shit starts happening at 10 at night, they're just like let's run around in the darkness in the desert. And it's just like,
yeah, but at that point, like, what else are you gonna do? Like,
yeah,
you're in the middle of nowhere. Nobody
I stay in
knows
my
you're
tent.
there,
I
and
stay in my
you're
tent.
there. I get, yeah, but they didn't he come into the tent? Like, we don't know. I thought that there was like, because it's him. He just has an axe, and
Yeah,
but we don't know that at the time, and
yeah.
I don't like. I don't know. Like, it is genuinely like a terrifying like thing to think about, but it almost reminds me like that movie. I always bring this one up, but I always forget the name, and I'll find it before I even talk about it.
Yeah, it's just like there's a lot good here, and it's like when in baseball when someone hits a ball and it's like it's going, and then it curves foul at the very end instead
Yeah.
of like a home run. It's like a foul ball, and you're just like, so close, and yet so far. It's that thing where you're just like there's a lot here, and like the people shitting on this and like acting like it's the worst film ever. No, it's not. Like like it actually, with a lot of the same issues as Skinamarink, but like as a film, as you and I are saying, it's at least watchable, and it's like intriguing, and you kind of get blue balled towards the end because you don't get a lot of it.
That
You don't get
movie,
enough.
Nocturnal Animals, where they're like on, just like a long drive, and it's in between cities, and
Yeah,
that's the like no man's land because the people that live in that area know help isn't close. It's like an hour and a
yeah,
half away in any direction. So whatever
yeah,
we do here, you're fucked. And they just like
yeah,
steal the family away, and like that's just
yeah,
genuinely terrifying. Where this feels kind of like that seclusion thing. You're
yeah,
you're fucked regardless type vibe, right? So yeah, I
yeah.
don't know.
Dude, you could do so much with that. Did you ever see that movie Monster with like the mom and the daughter, and they're like, I think it was called Monster, and like their car crashes, and like a fucking monster thing like just starts like
Oh yeah,
I think
yeah.
it's called Monster is what
Yeah.
the name of it. In that movie, most of the problems I had with that film was like when they showed the monster, you're like, oh
Yeah, I
guys, this is very
know.
indie. Don't do that.
I
No.
know.
And it was like one of those things you take it. We're talking about it, like it takes us out, and like I feel like they were trying to kind of do that, like the rock monster Cthulhu thing, where you kind of see it looks like a rock's like kind of slithering and moving a little bit, but like there isn't like real context to it. Like you don't see anything. You don't get like what is this thing? What is this guy? I mean, the guy's obviously fucking crazy. He cuts his own dick off with a shark tooth, but like it's like it's like there's I don't know. It just it's not giving you enough for what it's expecting out of you, especially like you and I enjoyed watching, like, I mean, we didn't have as many issues with this movie, but you could see you're talking about it, like everything people who aren't like as into horror as us, and even some people that are, were just like saying, get a better flashlight. It's like it was something so obvious that they didn't even get that. They didn't get that they were trying to keep you in the dark and keep you scared from this and keep you like whatever. But like what I'm saying is they needed to like give you a little bit more of like what you're afraid of, and give you a little more of like something that makes it go, oh shit. Like I don't know how you do that. I don't know how you fix this. I don't know how you go in and like I don't know.
And usually movies that end like this with everyone
Yeah,
dying, I usually enjoy because, but there wasn't enough to like there was too much time spent
yeah,
for that to be the end, I guess. And
yeah,
like most movies that end with everyone dying, people aren't going to be satisfied because they're really used to the Hollywood ending. Whereas
yeah.
I usually enjoy movies that go down that super dark path, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Like
Found
yeah,
footage
we've
though, found footage as a whole, like as a genre, has more of that because it sets up that
yeah, but
like
then you like if it's done right, like Cloverfield is amazing and I
yeah,
still love it and it's still attempting to start this random ass franchise that is so lost and really
yeah,
needs someone to just like take the reins and say no, 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 no. we have an idea, and this is actually going to be a fucking Cloverfield movie, not, oh, we got this movie on the shelf, and if we slap Cloverfield and spend a couple million on the end or something, we can make it a Cloverfield. No, fuck off. Don't do that.
Well, I mean, that's the Hellraiser treatment, right? That was like what Hellraiser did for a long time, where they were just like, they would take these scripts. Saw even done a bunch of that. Like Saw 2, my buddy Bobby went to college with the guy who wrote and directed Saw 2, and he had written this script, and after Saw went, big and made a shit ton of money, they got his script, and nobody wanted his script before, and they're like, we could turn this into a Saw movie, and that's like a thing with the Hellraiser movies, like especially later on, you could tell
Saw
a lot of
2 was like the closest to it actually being tied into the franchise, and the rest were just whatever.
But yeah, it wasn't even a script. It was a fucking torture porny like horror movie that they're like, oh, we could turn this into a Saw movie, and then you put Jigsaw. And I'm assuming there was like some other killer kind of person in that and doing that and trapping those people in there. But yeah, it's that thing where you put a square peg into a round hole, right? Like it's like it doesn't quite fit, but like you want to get through that round hole because that round hole is Halloween. I mean, it's like Halloween Resurrection, right? Is like the most. This wasn't a Halloween movie, and then they decided they were going to put fucking Michael Myers in it, and then Buster Rhymes kung fuing him. Dude, I still have never seen Halloween Resurrection, and the shot. Yeah, never seen it. And the two
which Halloween has Josh Hartnett in it? We were just talking about Josh
Halloween H2O.
H2O. I loved H2O, to be honest. It's not a good movie, but I still love it.
Halloween H2O is the problem with that movie is that it was written by Kevin. What do you call him? The one who did Screams, and feels more like a Scream movie than like Michael Myers and all that shit. But like that was the first Halloween I saw in the theater, man, because it was like, I mean, you and I are like a couple years apart, but like that came out in 97 or 99.
I saw it in theaters as well.
Yeah, and the first Halloween movie I saw, which was cool it might have been like the first Halloween movie I saw besides the original. Like it's that point where I was a teenager. Really? Yeah. I think I might have seen the second one too. I think I might have seen the second one at that point, but I still don't get the hatred on Halloween 2. I don't think it's great, but I think it's fun. But yeah, it's
haters gonna hate, and we're gonna.
Man,
we gotta pick a movie that. Well, no. Again, we can't even shit on ourselves for picking these two movies in a row, because it is what it is, and we're gonna watch all of them anyway. So, and we went down a path on Murder Moose where it was like, oh, I got a list of just the best movies, and it's like, wow, we only see good movies.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad I watched this. I'm not glad, like Skinamarink, I'm still like, I will never put that movie in again. If someone explains to me that there's some like overarching theme with the Outwaters, and like it goes in and like points things out, and like makes like, if there's some on YouTube somewhere where like
like a deep dive.
I would watch
dive
this
into
again.
The Outwaters.
Yeah,
because it's
but like deep
water.
But I don't know. Did you see anyone talking about this on Twitter last week? Because there was a shit ton of people on horror Twitter talking about this, and like,
because it was playing at the Globe Theater this weekend as well. Like it's. Yeah. And it's funny because like right before we did Skinamarink, it was playing at the Globe Theater as well.
Yeah.
Like the Globe is always current with the horror stuff, because Cody has like awesome. He'll bring like old movies and their original prints in and stuff, and it's awesome.
All I know is that we're gonna have to be like either pick a classic or something next week, because like all I know is I think the other contender for this week or next week was like probably the Winnie the Pooh movie, which people have not been saying nice things about that movie.
No,
and I'm
looks terrible. Looks like
it did the thing that like I still don't get why indie horror does this using CG blood, man. I just don't get it. Like CG blood is the only thing that I hate worse than CG blood is CG guns, like CG gunfire. CG gunfire is one of the most like frustrating things I've ever seen in films. Like, and when they do it, it just makes it like,
but they do it all the time.
I know, but like when they do like real bad, like when they're not even firing the gun and they're just like putting out like fake gunshots from a gun, like a prop gun and stuff like that, I'm just like, I hate it. I hate it real bad. And it just like, especially when they get obvious with it, like it's like, yeah. So I don't know. I do you have any idea of what you want to watch next week?
No. Well, we have Sissy that was just downloaded as well. That it has that's from last year, and
Yeah.
it has 96% on Rotten Tomatoes and 62% in the other column. So I don't know.
We could
It's
do
another
that.
indie.
I mean, I'm okay with doing that. Sissy. Let's do Sissy then. Let us do Sissy. I know nothing about it. I've seen the poster with it.
Yeah.
Like a chunky girl covered in blood. That's all I know. Like the poster was, right?
It's just like hair, and there's like a tiny bit of blood on her forehead. I don't know. I didn't see it. That's Piggy, I think you're talking about.
Oh, is
and
it?
That one we could also watch. I've heard a lot of good things about Piggy.
Well, then let us. Oh, okay. Maybe we just here. We'll talk about it and see what we have. And that one was like. That one was that was doing good in Sundance. That's why I saw that trailer.
Piggy was at Cuff this year, and I almost saw it, and it's Spanish too, so that one might be a better one to check out because it's actually foreign.
Man, you know what else I want to kind of watch that because I still have never seen it. The movie that the Spanish director who made Raw made, the one with the car. Oh, what the fuck? Because that's another one that
Raw.
Yeah, the movie with the cannibal girl.
Oh, Titan.
Oh yeah, Titan. Yeah, it's a female director too. Dude,
yeah.
Let's do that.
Titan.
I know. I don't know.
I like I did like the poster, but yeah.
Do we want to do that? Or do we want to do Piggy, or do we want to do what do we want to do?
They're
or do we just okay?
They're
we'll
all accessible for us right now.
Okay, so. We'll talk with Kin and see what her opinion is, and we'll figure it out.
Okay. Hey, Kin, what do you think?
Kin gives us a 2 thumbs up or 1 thumbs up.
Thanks, Kin.
We missed you this week, Kin, but we love you and we're glad that you're having good times with the family. So, in the Florida, I think it was like her grandmother's birthday or something cool like that. So, good times. Okay,
Grandma,
so those are.
Maybe we should watch Hereditary.
Oh God, I love Hereditary. I can't wait till that fucking the Bew movie and what the fuck ever that is. So we'll see about that one. Okay, Josh, I love you, and it's always good to do this with you, you silly man. You it was interesting talk because that movie is like there was a lot I liked in it. It's just like. Damn it, guys!
It's like going back to the beginning days, just you and me. It was kind of, it's kind of weird now. Like it was, we would have like a guest and then us for a bit, or guest, then us, and then it was like off on. But having Kin here, I love the dynamic, and like she brings like a nice little. It rounds out the show really nice having her and. I miss the fucking shit out of you.
Yeah, me too. Like, dude, I love how she'll like go and like look up like cool things while you and I are like blabbering about shit. Usually me blabbering about shit, but yeah. So, okay, we'll figure it out. Either Piggy or what was the other one you talked about, or Sissy or Titan. One of those three. Well, and I'll tweet out about it probably early Sunday or Monday or something, and we'll go from there. So. Okay, Josh, I love the fuck out of you. We miss you, Ken, but we will see you next week and when you come back. So we love you guys. Thank you for being dope, and we'll catch you guys next week for one of those 3 movies. Bye!